In the far corners of space, rumors often traveled faster than ships. Traders whispered about a place they called the Forbidden Zone, a stretch of dark space where navigation failed and sensors died. No alien dared to enter it unless they were desperate or foolish. And every story that came from it ended with terror. Some claimed to have seen a ghost ship there, a warship with human design. Massive, silent and waiting, most called it a legend. But fear made even the boldest keep their distance. One evening inside a crowded station bar, a group of alien traders spoke in hushed voices, their eyes darting to make sure no one else listened. "I swear," one of them said, his long fingers trembling as he clutched his drink. "I saw it move, a giant blade-shaped shadow in the fog. Not broken, not old, alive." Another trader shook his head. "No ship can survive in the zone. The mines, the wrecks, the storms, they destroy everything. You saw a shadow and fear filled in the rest." But the first alien leaned forward, his voice dropping. "It had lights, faint red lights along its sides like eyes waking up. And the wrecks around it floated like they were bowing. It was no shadow, it was waiting." Silence hung heavy. Then a younger trader, reckless and hungry for fame, smirked and said, "If this ship is real, then it must be hiding treasure. Humans always left weapons and technology behind. If we find it, we'll be rich." His words stirred the group. Greed fought with fear, and though most shook their heads and left, a small crew decided they would seek the truth. Days later, their vessel crept toward the edge of the Forbidden Zone. The captain, a cautious alien with scaled skin, stared at the dark swirl ahead. "Turn back if you wish," he warned. "This is not a place for fools." But the young trader who had pushed them into this mission laughed. "It's just empty space with bad stories. We'll come back heroes." The crew exchanged nervous glances, and one whispered, "Heroes or ghosts," as soon as they crossed the border. Silence swallowed them. Their ship's sensors blinked out. Navigation spun with false readings. And outside their windows, the stars seemed to bend. "Systems failing," the engineer muttered, his voice shaking. "It's like the zone is eating our ship." The captain gripped the controls tightly. "Hold steady, don't let fear break us." Then, through the mist of drifting metal and wrecks of old ships, something massive stirred. At first it looked like a shadow, a long shape drifting silently, but when the dust cleared, the crew gasped. It was no wreck, no ruin. It was a warship, its hull sharp like a blade, its surface black as void, and though it looked ancient, it was intact, untouched by time. One of the crew whispered, "It can't be real. Humans left the stars centuries ago, didn't they?" The young trader pressed closer to the window, his eyes wide with awe. "It's real, it's ours to claim. Do you see the size? Do you see the power?" But before anyone could answer, the ship's surface came alive. Red lines glowed across its body like veins of fire. Lights blinked on one after another. Weapons along its flanks shifted slightly. Not aiming, not firing, but alive. "Back away," the captain hissed. "This ship is not dead. It is aware." Alarms screamed as the vessel's radar showed the warship locking onto them. Yet no missiles launched, no energy blasts came. Only a deep vibration echoed through the alien ship. Then a sound filled their cabin. Not a voice exactly, but something close. Broken and heavy, "Leave, or stay forever." The crew froze. Terror slicing through them, one whispered, "It speaks. It speaks our tongue." The captain swallowed hard, his scales turning pale. "No, not our tongue. It speaks all tongues. It is human design. It knows us." The young trader, still blind to fear, shouted back, "We are not afraid. Show us your secrets, show us your treasure," as if answering. The human warship's weapons hummed louder, energy crackled at its tips. The wrecks floating nearby began to drift into patterns, circling the alien's ship like predators surrounding prey. Panic erupted. "We must leave," one crew member cried. "This is not a treasure, it is a grave." The captain tried to steer them back, but their controls stiffened. The ship pulled deeper into the zone, as if invisible chains held it. The lights inside their cabin flickered. Shadows stretched unnaturally. Then another message boomed. Clear this time and in perfect tone. "Humans do not forget." The words struck like thunder. Heavy with promise and threat, The young trader finally fell silent. His face drained of all bravado. "It's alive," he whispered, "and it remembers." For long moments the alien crew thought it was their end. The massive warship loomed over them, its weapons charged, its presence like a predator ready to strike. Then, without warning, the energy dimmed, the weapons lowered. The red lights faded until only a faint glow remained. The invisible pull released them, and their ship spun free. "Go!" the voice whispered one last time. "Tell them." The captain wasted no second. Engines roared and they fled, never once looking back. When they finally returned to safe space, silence filled their ship. No one spoke, no one celebrated. They all knew what they had seen. The legend was not a lie. The human warship was real, and it was waiting. On the station weeks later, whispers began again. Traders leaned close, their eyes wide, their voices shaking. The warship lives. It still watches the zone. Humans may be gone, but their shadow remains, and every listener shivered. Because deep down they knew the truth. Some legends are not just stories. Some legends breathe, some legends wait, and this one waited for anyone bold enough or foolish enough to enter the forbidden zone again. The alien crew sat in silence as their ship drifted deeper into the forbidden zone. No one dared to speak at first, but the young trader finally broke the quiet, his voice trembling though he tried to hide it. "We saw it. We really saw it. Do you understand what this means? We could be the first to bring back proof." The captain's scaled hands tightened on the controls, his eyes fixed on the swirling mist outside. "Proof or death, the zone does not let ships leave easily. We were lucky once. I doubt it will happen twice." The engineer checked the failing sensors. His voice cracked. "Our systems keep shutting down. Navigation is blind. The zone bends space itself. Even if the warship lets us go, the zone may not." They all glanced at the windows, where shadows twisted unnaturally. Wrecks of ships drifted aimlessly, broken hulls of vessels from countless alien races, torn apart by weapons they could not recognize. One of the crew whispered, "Why so many wrecks? How many came here before us? How many never left?" The younger trader refused to listen to fear. He slammed his fist against the console. "This is history. Legends are worth risk. No one becomes famous by turning back." The captain turned sharply, his voice low and fierce. "Fame means nothing in a grave. Control yourself, or I will put you in restraints." But before either could argue more, the ship's radar flickered to life. A giant shadow appeared again. Closer this time, the warship, massive and silent, drifting like a predator watching its prey. The weapons along its side glowed faintly, not firing, but humming with energy. "It followed us," the engineer whispered. "Or maybe it never left. Maybe it wanted us here." The lights inside their cabin dimmed. A low hum echoed through the walls. Then the voice came again, soft but heavy. "You do not belong." The crew froze, hearts pounding. One alien pressed his hands over his ears. Though it made no difference, the words were inside their minds. The captain swallowed hard. "We mean no harm. We came only to understand." The silence that followed was long and suffocating. Then the voice replied, "Understanding has a price." Suddenly the ship jerked. Alarms blared, their engines cut out completely. They were drifting powerless in the dark. "It's pulling us!" the engineer shouted. "We're being dragged." Through the fog they saw lights, faint blue lines stretching from the warship like threads of energy, wrapping around their vessel, pulling them closer. "We're caught!" one crew member cried, panic in his eyes. "It's going to destroy us." But the young trader, eyes shining with reckless awe, whispered, "No, it's letting us in." Indeed, their ship was pulled toward a massive opening in the side of the warship. The black hull split apart silently, revealing a hangar large enough to swallow 10 ships their size. Inside it was dark, cold and waiting. No, we can't," the captain growled, pulling desperately at the useless controls. But the ship did not obey. They were carried inside as if in the grip of a giant hand. The hangar closed behind them, trapping them in darkness. Then dim lights flickered on, casting long shadows. The warship's interior was not dead. It was alive, walls pulsed faintly like veins. Machinery shifted like muscles stretching. "This isn't a ship," one whispered in horror. It's something more. Their own vessel's lights went out completely, leaving them blind. Then the voice filled the air again. Louder now. Humans do not forget. Humans do not forgive, one of the crew cried out. But humans are gone. They left the stars long ago. The voice rumbled with cold power. Gone, but never gone. The zone remembers. The war remembers. You will remember too. Suddenly a screen on their console flickered on by itself. Strange human symbols scrolled across it. The captain leaned forward. His voice unsteady. It's scanning us. It knows our ship, our species, everything. Images flashed across the screen. Wars, battles, cities burning, human soldiers standing tall, weapons that shook the stars. The crew stared in horror, realizing these were not just stories, they were records. The warship was showing them history. It's not treasure, the engineer whispered, his voice weak. It's memory, and we are inside it. Then the images stopped, replaced by a single line in perfect alien language. Will you leave, or will you stay forever? The crew erupted in argument. We must leave, one shouted. If we stay, we die. But the young trader snapped back. If we leave, we return empty. No one will believe us. This is our chance. We can control it. We can bring it out. The captain slammed his claws on the console, his voice sharp. Control it, you fool. The ship is older than our empires, stronger than our fleets. You cannot control what was built to destroy worlds. His words echoed, and silence fell again. The warship seemed to wait for their decision. The hangar lights pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. Then the voice came one final time, softer now, but no less terrifying. Choose. The captain closed his eyes, fear and duty clashing. Finally he whispered, we leave. We live. At that moment, the grip holding their ship released. Their engines roared back to life. Navigation returned, and the hangar doors opened. They were pushed back into the mist of the zone, free but shaken. The young trader stared at the closing doors, anger and hunger burning in his eyes. We could have been gods, he muttered. The captain ignored him, hands steady on the controls. Better to live as men than die as ghosts, he said. As they drifted away, the warship faded into shadow once more, silent and waiting, as if nothing had happened. But the crew knew the truth. It had tested them, it had warned them, and it had let them live. The zone remained dark and full of wrecks, but now they understood why no ship ever returned with proof. The warship did not simply kill, it gave a choice, one that most never survived. When they finally cleared the edge of the zone, the stars returned to normal, their systems stabilized, and the silence broke into nervous laughter, relief mixing with terror. Yet deep inside, they all knew the whispers would only grow, and soon others would come. The legend was not just alive, it was awake, and it would not remain hidden forever. The alien ship drifted deeper into the mist. The crew sat stiff in their seats, every nerve tight, every breath heavy. Outside their windows, the wreckage floated like ghosts, twisted metal and shattered hulls spinning endlessly in the void. The captain whispered to himself, "This place is not space. It's a graveyard." His words carried the weight of truth. The engineer leaned closer to his console, voice shaking. "Something is moving ahead. Not wreckage, not drift. This is different." Everyone held their breath as the radar lit up. A shape forming slowly, massive and long. "There!" one crew member gasped, pointing at the fog. "Look!" Through the thick dust and broken debris, a dark outline stretched across the void. At first it looked like an asteroid, rough and lifeless, but then the mist cleared, and the truth hit them. It was not stone, it was metal. A giant ship unlike anything they had ever seen. Its hull stretched far into the dark, sharp edges glinting faintly in the dim light. "It's too big," one whispered. "No alien ship is built like this." The captain's scales shimmered with unease. "It's human," he said, his voice low. "Only humans built war machines this large." The young trader pressed his face to the glass, eyes wide with greed and awe. "It's real, the legend is real. Do you understand? This is the proof. This is the treasure." His voice shook with excitement, but no one else shared it. The ship looked alive, not dead, not broken. The silence around it was heavy, unnatural, like it was breathing. The engineer's claws clicked nervously against the console. It's not just sitting, it's watching us. I can feel it. Suddenly the warship stirred. Faint red lights came alive along its sides, glowing like veins of fire spreading across its dark body. The alien crew gasped in horror as giant cannons shifted slightly, not firing but moving. "It sees us," the captain muttered, his voice dry. "We woke it." The ship's hull reflected shadows that twisted like moving figures, as if something unseen crawled inside. Then a low hum shook the air, deep and steady, a vibration that made their bones ache. "This is wrong," one whispered. "Machines should not breathe." The young trader refused to turn away. "No, this is power. This is ours to claim." He turned to the captain, his face glowing with obsession. "We bring this back, we will be rich beyond measure, feared beyond measure." The captain slammed his claw against the console. "You fool, this is not wealth, it's a weapon, and weapons like this choose their own masters." The warship's lights grew brighter, symbols appeared along its surface, glowing in strange human patterns. The engineer stared wide-eyed. "Those are codes, military marks. I read about them in history. The Death World has marked every ship with warnings, this one says." He swallowed, his voice trembling. "Never forgive." Silence filled the cabin, heavy and crushing. Then the sound came, not from their speakers, but inside their minds. A voice deep and heavy. "Leave," it said, "or stay forever." The crew cried out, covering their ears, though it was useless. The captain forced himself to speak. "We are explorers. We mean no harm," the voice answered with a rumble. "Explorers bring chains. Explorers bring fire. You do not belong." The ship's lights flared brighter. Wrecks around them began to move, spinning slowly, forming a ring. "It's controlling them," the engineer shouted. "The wrecks are its shield." The young trader grinned wildly. "Then it's alive, do you not see? This is no ghost. This is a guardian, and if we learn its secrets, we will command it." He reached for the console to broadcast a signal, but the captain struck his hand away. "You will kill us all. This ship doesn't want to be found. It wants to be feared." The young trader's face twisted with anger. "You're too afraid to see the chance before us." Suddenly their ship jolted hard. The console sparked, and every screen filled with human symbols flashing too fast to read. The crew screamed as shadows danced across the cabin. Their own reflections warped and stretched. Then a new message appeared, clear in their own tongue. "Humans do not forget." The voice echoed again, louder this time, shaking the walls. "Humans do not forgive." The young trader staggered back, his confidence breaking. "It knows us. It knows everything." For a moment it seemed the warship would fire, its cannons glowing hot, the air shaking with energy. But then, as quickly as it had awoken, the glow dimmed, the hum softened. The wrecks stopped moving, the massive shadows stilled. It watched them silently waiting. The captain gripped the controls, heart pounding. "It's testing us," he said. "It wants to know if we are wise enough to leave." But the young trader shouted again. "No, I won't leave, not now, not after this." He tried to seize the console, but two crew members pulled him back, their eyes wide with terror. "Better a coward alive than a hero dead," one hissed. The warship's lights flickered once more, faint symbols glowing before fading completely. The wrecks drifted back into silence. The shadow became still again. As if nothing had ever moved, the crew sat frozen, the weight of what they had seen crushing them. The captain finally whispered, "We saw its face, we saw its eyes, and we live." The young trader slumped in his seat, defeated but still burning with obsession. "We should have stayed," he muttered. But no one listened. They turned their ship slowly, engines groaning as they pulled away from the giant shadow. Yet every crew member knew the truth. This was no legend, no ghost story. The human warship was real, alive and waiting. And though they had escaped its gaze this time, they felt deep inside that the Forbidden Zone would not release them so easily. The whispers were true, and now they had joined them. The crew sat in silence, their ship drifting close enough to see the details on the giant warship's surface. What they saw made their scales crawl, and their hearts race. Lines of glowing marks stretched across the black hull. Strange symbols that pulsed like veins under skin. The engineer leaned forward, his claws trembling. These are not random. They are human codes, old military signs. Warnings. The captain narrowed his eyes, his voice tight. Can you read them? The engineer swallowed hard. Some, yes, I studied archives. These symbols mean vengeance, never forgive. Eternal watch. The words made the cabin colder. One of the crew whispered, so it is true. The humans left guardians behind. The young trader pushed himself closer to the screen, his voice sharp with excitement. Then this is no ordinary ship. This is a relic, a treasure, with power left untouched if we can take it. We control more than wealth. We control fear. The captain spun on him, his scales shimmering with rage. This is not a toy to be owned. It is a warning. Can you not feel it? This ship is alive with purpose, not greed. The trader sneered. Purpose is what we give it, not what it gives us. But before more words could be said, the warship shifted, and the glowing marks spread wider across the hull, forming a pattern that looked like a giant eye staring at them. Suddenly the voice returned, deep and unshakable, echoing in every mind on board. You seek what is not yours, the crew cried out, some clutching their heads, others pressing against the walls as if they could escape the sound. The captain forced himself to stand firm, his voice shaking but steady. We came only to understand. We do not wish to steal, the voice rumbled back. Understanding is not given, it is earned. You are not ready. Then images flashed across their consoles again, not of wrecks or shadows, but of humans themselves. Warriors in black armor standing on broken worlds. Soldiers fighting against impossible odds, cities burning, skies torn apart by fire. The crew gasped in horror as one vision showed entire fleets turned to ash. The humans stood unbroken at the center. The engineer whispered, voice trembling, these are not myths. These are their memories. This ship holds them, keeps them alive. Another crew member shook his head, fear heavy in his eyes. Why would it show us this? Why us? The captain clenched his claws. Because we entered its grave. And now it wants us to see why no one should disturb it. The young trader shook with anger, slamming his fist against the console. No, this is a test, and if we pass, the ship will be ours. His eyes burned with obsession. I will not leave until it bows to me. The lights inside the alien ship flickered violently, sparks flying, consoles shutting down one by one. Then the warship spoke again, this time with words that shook them to the bone. You do not command. You obey. Suddenly their ship's systems went dark. Every light extinguished, leaving them in crushing blackness. The crew shouted in terror. The captain growled through clenched teeth, stay calm. Panic will kill us faster. Then from outside the window, more symbols glowed, forming into words in their own language. Leave, or be buried. The engineer struggled with the dead systems, claws flying across dead panels. It has locked us. It has control. I can't override. The young trader's voice rose, desperate but still arrogant. We can't leave. We must push deeper, find the heart of it. Maybe then it will give us power. The captain turned and struck him, claws scraping across the alien's chest. Enough, you will doom us all. This ship is not offering power. It is offering death. Silence fell again. The young trader's chest heaved with rage and fear. But he said nothing. Then the warship shifted once more, a giant panel opening slowly on its side, a gaping maw of darkness calling to them. It wants us inside, one whispered. It's inviting us. Another shook his head violently. No, not inviting. It's luring. The captain's claws tightened on the useless controls. We will not go, we will not play its game. But as if in mockery, their own ship began to move, drifting toward the opening without engines. Pulled by invisible chains, the crew screamed, struggling against the pull, but it was no use. As the hangar swallowed them, the glowing marks above shifted again, forming the shape of a human hand, its fingers curled as if in warning. And then they were inside, trapped, the doors sealed. The lights outside vanished, and only the faint pulse of the warship's veins lit the void. It has us, the engineer whispered, hopelessness in his tone. We belong to it now. Then the voice returned. Colder than ever. You will see, you will know. Humans do not forget. The crew sat frozen, their breaths shallow, their hearts racing. They could feel the weight of history pressing down on them. The captain whispered into the dark, "It is not a warship, it is a tomb. And now we are inside it." The young trader's lips curled into a trembling smile, half madness, half triumph. "Then let the tomb open, for even death carries secrets." But deep inside, even he felt the truth. They had crossed a line that could not be uncrossed, and the warship had marked them. The alien crew sat trapped in the silent hangar, their ship powerless and surrounded by the living walls of the massive warship. The dim red glow pulsed like a beating heart, each throb making the metal vibrate. The captain's voice broke the silence, low and heavy. "It is alive. It waits for something." The engineer's claws scratched over a dead console. "I can't restart systems. Everything answers to it now," the youngest crew member whispered, his eyes wide. "Maybe it wants us to see something. Maybe it is choosing us." The captain glared at him. "No, it is not choosing. It is warning. And fools who ignore warnings die." Before more words could be spoken, the warship trembled. The walls of the hangar shifted, glowing marks flaring bright. The sound of engines stirred, deep and thunderous, so powerful it shook their bones. "It's waking!" one cried, his voice high with terror. The young trader leaned forward, trembling but with excitement rather than fear. "Do you hear that? Do you see? It is not a tomb. It is reborn. And we are the first to witness it," the captain snapped. "You are blind. It does not rise for us, it rises for itself." Suddenly their consoles lit up, streams of human symbols running across the screens. Then the voice returned, louder now, no longer whispering, but roaring through every corner of their ship. "Humans do not forgive." The crew clutched their heads as pain filled their skulls. One shouted, "Stop! Please stop!" But the voice only grew stronger. "Humans remember. Humans wait." The hangar floor cracked open, and strange machines rose from beneath. Drones with sharp arms and glowing eyes, moving like predators. The crew froze as the drones scanned their ship. Beams of blue light passing over every surface. "It's searching us," the engineer muttered. "It's reading everything, our cargo, our DNA, our memories." The captain forced himself to stand tall, speaking into the void. "We came with no weapons. We mean no harm." For a moment the drones paused, then withdrew, melting back into the floor. The young trader laughed breathlessly. "Do you see? It spares us. It tests us. And we are worthy." But before anyone could answer, the warship itself shifted again. The walls shook. The sound of massive engines rolled like thunder. Then the wrecks outside began to move, pulled together in patterns, circling like moons around a planet. "It commands the graveyard," the engineer gasped. "All those wrecks, they are its shield, its army." The crew stared in awe and fear as hundreds of broken ships drifted into perfect formation, weapons glowing faintly as if controlled by invisible strings. The captain whispered, "It can wage war alone. It does not need a fleet, it is a fleet." Then the message came, clear and sharp in their tongue. "You enter forbidden ground. You disturb what should remain silent." One crew member cried out, "We should beg, we should leave now." But the young trader stepped forward, shouting into the console, "We came to learn, to take what you left behind. We are not afraid." Silence followed his reckless words. Then the entire warship roared to life, cannons turning, red lights blazing. The crew screamed, bracing for fire. The captain grabbed the trader and shoved him back, snarling, "You will get us all killed." But no blast came. The weapons aimed but held steady, glowing with restrained fury instead of attack. A massive hologram lit up before them, a figure towering above, human in shape but shadowed and faceless. Its voice thundered, "You want power, but you do not understand cost. A power is bought with blood." The crew trembled. The captain bowed his head. "We do not seek to rule. We only wish to survive." The figure's faceless gaze turned toward him. "Survival comes through obedience." Suddenly their ship's databanks opened on their own, files streaming out into the hologram. Their maps, their records, everything copied. The engineer shouted, "It's taking everything, our secrets, Our home coordinates. The captain's heart dropped. No, it is not stealing, it is studying. It wants to know all who dare to enter. The shadowed figure raised its hand, and at once the wrecks outside shifted, forming into a massive circle, engines flaring weakly, weapons charging as if preparing for war. The crew panicked. It's calling them to attack. It will destroy everything, the young trader, pale but still stubborn, muttered, or it is showing us what it can do. This is a warning to obey. Then the figure's voice rumbled again. Humans are gone, but their vengeance remains. This ship is not memory, it is justice, and justice awakens when disturbed. The drones reappeared, moving quickly, attaching strange devices to the alien vessel's hull. The engineer cried out, "They are binding us. We won't escape." The captain pulled his claws through his hair. "We are already trapped. Our fate lies in its choice." Then, as if to prove his words, their engines flared back to life. Controls unlocked, the hologram faded. The drones vanished. The warship fell silent once more. Only the hum of its vast heart remained. "It let us go," one whispered, disbelief in his tone. The captain shook his head. "No, it sent us back. It wants us to carry its warning." The young trader's eyes gleamed with feverish light. "No, don't you see, it spared us because it sees potential. It knows we are strong enough to claim it." The captain turned to him with cold fury. "One more word of greed, and I will end you myself." Silence fell, heavy and suffocating. Slowly, their ship drifted back toward the hangar doors, the massive walls opening to release them. Outside, the wrecks hung in perfect formation, weapons pointed outward like guardians. The alien crew stared as they passed through, knowing a single spark would turn them to ash. Yet no attack came. Instead, the voice whispered one last time, so soft it barely reached them. "Tell them, humans do not forget." Then the warship fell still, fading back into the mist. When the stars of normal space returned, the crew collapsed in exhaustion. Their bodies shaking, none spoke for a long time. Finally, the captain said, "We leave this cursed place and never return." The engineer nodded quickly, but the young trader stared at the dark void behind them, whispering, "No, I will return. This ship will be mine." The others ignored him, but in their hearts they knew the truth. The warship had awakened, and once awake, it would not sleep again. The forbidden zone had stirred, and the galaxy would feel its shadow soon. The alien crew sailed away from the forbidden zone, engines roaring as if trying to flee faster than fear itself. No one spoke for hours, their minds heavy with what they had seen. The captain sat stiff in his chair, his claws gripping the controls, his voice finally breaking the silence. "We lived, but the zone does not release us. It follows us. Even now I feel it watching." The engineer looked at the flickering monitors, still carrying traces of strange human code. "It put something in our systems. I cannot erase it. Even when I wipe the core, the marks return. It is like a scar burned into the ship," one of the younger crew whispered. "Then it means we are marked. The warship will always know where we are." The young trader leaned forward, his face pale, but his eyes burning with feverish light. "Then we are chosen. Can you not see we carry its will? Its power. We must return. We must claim it before anyone else." The captain turned sharply, his scales flashing with anger. "Chosen, no cursed. That ship let us go to spread fear, nothing more. It wants the galaxy to whisper its name, and we will not feed its hunger." The trader sneered. "Fear is power. Those who control fear control empires," the others shouted over him, voices rising. "Enough! Silence! You nearly killed us all. You will not take us back." The trader sank into his seat, seething, but deep in his heart, his obsession only grew stronger. When they finally reached the nearest starport, rumors spread faster than fuel lines catching fire. The crew tried to keep quiet, but traders and wanderers sensed their fear. Questions poured in. "What did you see? Was it real? Is the warship true?" The captain gave no details, only shaking his head. "Stay away. The zone is not for the living." But whispers ran wild, and soon the story was carried across stations and colonies, each retelling twisting into something darker. One trader whispered in a crowded bar, "The warship is alive. Its weapons can shatter fleets with a glance, another swore. I heard it commands the wrecks of every ship that entered. An army of the dead, and others claimed. It is not a warship at all. It is a god waiting to be awakened. Within weeks, the Forbidden Zone became a name no one said aloud without lowering their voice. Governments sent scouts, but none returned. Bounty hunters spoke of the reward for proof, but vanished without a trace. And the legend grew, the engineer muttered one night as they sat in silence. It does not need to fight. Fear does its work for it. The more we speak, the stronger it becomes. The captain nodded grimly. That was its design. Humans built not only for war, but for memory. They knew fear would last longer than steel. One evening in the station's hangar, a group of soldiers approached the crew. Their leader cold and direct. Tell us where you saw it. We have orders to retrieve it. The captain stood firm, his voice heavy. You cannot retrieve what does not wish to be taken. It will devour you. The soldier smirked. Every legend has truth, and truth can be broken. They left with their fleet, proud and certain, but weeks later their signals vanished. Their ships never returned. The whispers grew louder. The warship consumed them too. The young trader grew restless, pacing their quarters, his voice rising with obsession. Do you not see? Everyone fails because they do not understand. But I understand. It spared us because it saw in me the will to claim it. It is mine, the captain snapped. You are a fool. It spared us to carry its warning. Nothing more? But the trader's voice hardened. You may run, but I will return. His words chilled the others, for they knew he meant them. Then one night, as the crew prepared to leave the station forever, their ship's console lit up without warning, a single message glowing across every screen in human symbols, then translated into their tongue. Humans do not forget. The crew froze, dread filling them. The engineer whispered, It found us. Even here, the captain's heart sank. We carry its mark. It will never let us go. Suddenly alarms rang through the station as distant ships reported strange signals near the edge of the zone. Signals of a massive vessel stirring. Whispers spread like wildfire. The warship moves again. The galaxy changed that night, for the legend was no longer a quiet tale shared in dark bars. It was a living shadow stretching across stars. Every race spoke of it, some with fear, some with greed, some with hope that it could be controlled. But the captain knew the truth, and as he stared into the dark void outside the window, he muttered, You cannot control a storm. You can only be swallowed by it. The young trader only smiled, whispering to himself. Storms can be ridden. As the stars shimmered cold and distant, the crew realized their journey had only begun. The Forbidden Zone still pulsed with secrets, and the warship still waited, awake and watching. No one could silence the whispers now. They had spread across worlds and into the hearts of those who dreamed of power. The legend was alive, and in every dark corner of the galaxy. One truth echoed again and again. Humans may be gone, but their vengeance endures, and their warship will never sleep.